tower going up in your neighborhood? If it's not now, it may soon. Wireless carriers are installing millions of them across the country to enable the new, faster 5G cell phone technology. They're popping up outside bedroom windows and school campuses, despite objections from across the country.
I know scientifically that putting up these cell phone towers is safe.
But the International Association of Firefighters...
What, dude? For real? Firefighters won't allow it.
disagrees. They began opposing cell towers on fire stations after firefighters complained of health problems.
These firefighters developed symptoms.
Dr. Gunnar Heuser conducted a pilot study on firefighters at a station with cell towers.
And the symptoms included problem with memory, problem with intermittent confusion, problem with weakness.
Heuser says their brain scans suggest even low-level RF can cause cell damage.
And by the way, the towers that you just saw in that video were indeed 5G antennas, the little base stations.
And he worries about more vulnerable groups like kids.
So we found abnormal brain function in all of the firefighters we examined.
So, following lobbying by firefighters, Cork and his co-author exempted fire stations from their bill, making them one place cell companies couldn't put a tower. This is the first piece of legislation that I think anyone's aware of where somebody got an exemption because they were concerned about health. Did they tell you at all about this?
All I know is that when the firefighters ask, I do what they ask me to do.
Because they're strong lobbyists?
Yes.
So if, say, school teachers and parents had a strong lobby and they asked you to pass something that would prevent these from going up in your schools, would you do that?
If I couldn't get the votes any other way.
Tonight, anger.
Yo, what's up, y'all? It's Phil James coming back to you yet again. As you can see here at the top, it is Thursday, June 14th. And we're going to do a little video on 5G today because we've been pumping out the videos. We've been busy here in the central OH area. So this is a different kind of website from what I would normally use, but it's a very good one. I dig it. So I will leave a link for you in the description. 5G radiation dangers, 11 reasons to be concerned. Like it or not, we're rapidly moving into a world of 5G or 5th generation cellular telecommunications. Why? Because the frequency bandwidths used currently by cell phones and similar technologies are being saturated. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And actually, I kind of want to make a little comment about that. Has anybody been noticing any major cell phone issues? My cell phone is horrible. It's horrible. Okay, service, everything. And it just keeps getting worse. Could it be the 5G? Danielle pointed that out to me the other day. She said it could be the 5G. Makes sense to me, they're putting up these new towers and it could be interfering with everybody's cell phones, or it could be interfering with, Wi-Fi and everybody's cell phones, really. So let me know in the comments below if you guys are noticing any crazy cell phone problems, anything like with your cell phone service, your internet, your Wi-Fi. Let me know in the comments below if you are having issues, because like I said, my phone, my charger's messed up, my battery's messed up. Verizon sent me a new phone and it was just the shell, no battery, no new charger, but yet still paying for a new phone. So thanks, Verizon, you suck. But anyways, sorry, this is my neighbor's mowing, so I keep on pausing it because his mower gets real close, and so I'm trying to remember what I'm saying. So sorry. But all right, no. So yeah, let me know if it's messing with your phones. Let me know if it's messing with any of your devices or anything, because I'm telling you right now, my phone is going through it with roaming, with service. Feels like somebody has a scrambler around me at all times, like scrambling my cell phone service. And the other part that's really crazy, not only does it feel like somebody is like scrambling my service, but it's like now there's weird noises being made. nobody can ever hear me when I'm talking, and it's not my speaker. Like I said, it's a brand new phone, you know, it's supposed to be a brand new shell of a phone. But anyways, whatever. Let me know. Saturated, yeah. Alright. And also, because we live in a world where people want more. 5G and the Internet of Things. That goes with it. Promises to give us more. But more what? Super fast download speeds. Yeah, the equivalent to about 1,000 miles per hour, but with downloads. So, everything's going to be at that speed. Will I be bitching when I'm uploading videos to YouTube at outrageous speeds? Yes, I still will be. Yeah. I'm a patient guy. I can wait enough, and I can wait for a video to upload, you know, for 6 hours, because it takes some of my videos 6 hours to upload. This one right here will not take as long because I'm recording my screen and it's not a high screen resolution. But when I when I record the sky with Ultra HD and I try to upload one of those, Ultra HD takes forever. Okay, those geoengineered skies and particles in your eyes videos, those take hours upon hours to upload depending on where I'm at. So, super fast download speeds. 5G and the Internet of Things promises to connect us in our homes, schools, workplaces, cities, parks, and open spaces to over 1 trillion objects around the world. Yes, you heard that. 1 trillion. Now, once it's been around for 5 years, you can expect it to be hooked up to 10 trillion more. So remember that, because it will only get hooked up to absolutely everything. If they already have 1 trillion things in mind, you can expect everything else, including grass and trees, will be hooked up to it, because they'll all be genetically modified and literally android type trees, you know. I mean, I'm just saying, like, who knows? They're talking about, I had an article that I meant to share with you guys, and it was talking about bioluminescent trees replacing street lights and stuff. And, dude, I'm telling you, like, the stuff happening is crazy right now. Alright, it promises cars that drive themselves, washing machines that order their own washing powder and softener, plus, of course, super fast downloads and streaming. According to Fortune.com, 5G will support at least 100 billion devices and will be 10 to 100 times faster than current 4G technology. 4G was already about 10 times faster than 3G. Now, a lot of the stuff in here, in this article, I already know, and I know a lot of you guys probably already know because we look into this stuff. So, I'm going to go ahead and share it, though, because I haven't made a really in-depth 5G video, so that's what this is. Now that you have the speeds, now think, if you're younger than me, you're probably not going to remember this very well, because, I mean, I was a drug addict, I remember it, but, you know what I mean, I'm a pretty observant guy. So, if you think back to when cell phones just came out, like, I didn't even have a cell phone until I was 17, 18 years old. Okay, I didn't care. Didn't matter, really. I mean, I think it might have been 16, maybe. 16, 17. I would guess 16. And it was just a flip phone, right? Had it forever. And then I shattered it at a skate park because I was mad at an ex-girlfriend because she kept calling me and all I was trying to do was skateboard. So I took it out of my pocket and smashed it. But anyways, not the point. If you think about how slowly those texts used to send, it would sit there and you'd have to push and hold it on the message and then click details, to see if it said sent and stuff. Think about how much slower that was. And think about now. You click a text to send it and look, it spins for a half a second and it's sent, right? And people are pretty much getting it. Think about YouTube notifications right now. When you get a video notification and you show up to a big channel and you're the first or second or third or fourth or fifth person, you're getting that notification with, let's say an RFB situation. You're getting that notification on his main channel with about 232,000, is that what it is? 233,000, something like that he's at. All those other people, let's say half, have the bell. clicked. You're getting that notification with all them, and you're showing up that quick, like, already, right? So it makes you wonder, how much quicker can that really be stepped up? Like, well, can we even 100 times faster? That's a lot faster. So, I mean, just think about that. All right. It'll bring download speeds up to 10 gigabytes per second. This would let us have an entire building of people send each other data in close to no time, thus improving productivity. It just seems so efficient and just so convenient. What is 5G? 5G offers mind-blowing data capabilities, practically unrestricted call volumes, and near infinite data broadcast. It does this by 5G using largely untapped bandwidth of the millimeter wave. So, I've said that before, I think, in a video. Real small, short wavelengths, right? Everything else is bigger wavelengths. 5G, like it says, millimeter wavelengths. So really small. And that means it doesn't penetrate buildings, trees, rain, everything messes with it. Like, it can literally mess with its signal, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't penetrate solids very well. So they have to use a lot more. That's why everybody keeps talking about how many rectennas there will be, or how many base stations there will be, or how many antennas there will be, because they don't penetrate buildings, they don't penetrate solids very well, and rain can mess it up, weather can mess it up. So they have to put a shit ton of these stations, these antennas, all over the place to scramble, unscramble, and bounce it in every which way and off of each other. You see what I mean? So that's why we're going to have so many more. I mean, cell phone towers already cause problems right now, okay? But now we're about to have so many more that all those problems are about to go exponentially up, okay? So, which is the millimeter wave is between 30 gigahertz and 300 gigahertz, as well as some lower and mid-range frequencies that are also probably not in use very much right now. Because you got to think, our EMFs are very, very busy. We have a lot of EMF all over the place. All over. So they're trying to use things that are not used up right now, because the things that are being used have a lot of traffic. Think about this. When 9/11 happened, cell phones stopped working in New York. Okay? Because 3G, was that what it would have been? Yeah. No, 2G. Yeah, it would have been 2G. Thankfully, I'm prepared, and I have this little table right here, huh? Stoners don't always fuck shit up, alright? But no, 2G. So, 2G during 2G during 9/11. So, when 9/11 happened, cell phones did not function at all, okay? That's why I always talk about, like, to the people I know, I want to rock CBs and shortwave and ham radio, because ham radio is kind of spotty depending on the sun and the cycle the sun's in. But shortwave, that might be ham, but CBs and stuff, they're barely used. So you want, in an end of world type scenario, or a communication tragedy type scenario, your CB is still going to work when everybody else's cell phones won't be. But with 5G, who knows? Cell phones might still work. They might be able to, hook quantum computing up to it and know what everybody's saying at once. Who knows? Who knows? The possibilities with 5G can literally be endless. And it's going to be hooked up to everything. Why wouldn't it be hooked up to a quantum computer? It probably already is right now. So, quantum computers, Bryson, they're learning what the damage 5G waves that are already being used right now, they're probably, it's probably recording the damages, like, from within a body or something, like some crazy shit. Or it's probably simulating it, like everything else it does. So yeah, there's this table here. Like I said, I will leave a link in the description, just so you guys can check any of this out. This video will be on the longer side, so please stick around. Leave a like, I plan on making this detailed, so we're getting into it now. Alright, so as you can see in the table here, starting development, 1G, 1970. Now, I think a lot of us are probably going to be surprised by that, because, I mean, do you guys remember, like, all these kids aren't going to remember this shit. So anybody who is like 20 and under, you guys ain't going to remember this. And I'll be terribly surprised if you do, because I know you guys don't remember normal skies. But anyways, do you guys remember like car phones, like in old like Ford Mustangs and shit? They'd have that car phone in the center console. 1G obviously was what that used, right? Now, was you aware though that it went all the way back to 1970? I was not. I just wanted to throw that out there. And then it goes through and shows the data bandwidth, you know, which it's so low back then. The type of technology, analog, digital, you know, www for 5G, whatever the F that means, I'm not even sure. But you can see this. Now, here's what I liked about this. 1970 to 80 for the 1G, 90 to 2004 for 2, 04 to 10 and 3 for 3G, and then now is 4G, obviously the present, and then 5G soon, probably by 2020. Now, they're already putting them up. They're going to be ahead of schedule because the FCC chair, Tom Wheeler, made it very clear they're going to pump this shit out very quickly and fuck safety regulations. I mean, he made it very clear. I'll see if I still have a picture of that or a video clip of that speech. So, I'm not going to go through all this, but oh look, weakness. I will finish this. Poor spectral efficiency, major security issue. Well, the security wasn't a major issue at the time because people taking identities and info and data wouldn't have had the same technology. I mean, unless they would have had the same technology, so it would have been just as slow and just as challenging. But the government still would have been able to, you know. Limited data. All right, battery use is more required, complicated, and expensive hardware. That's for now and 4G. So they put the question in this table. For weaknesses. I would say rain, buildings, having a lot of them, like antennas, you know, all that. Those are weaknesses of 5G. And then maybe too ionizing, like maybe too much radiation, you know, like, I mean, that's a major weakness, you know. Sorry, I couldn't get that out the way I wanted to, sorry. All right, there are some other features of 5G you will need to be aware of. Wireless cell antenna galore. Millimeter waves do not travel through buildings and they tend to be absorbed by the rain and plants. This interferes with the signal. Added to this, high frequency waves like millimeter waves also have much shorter wavelengths that can't travel far. That's what I'm saying. They're short and small ones that, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, they can't travel far. To counter this problem, 5G will utilize smaller cell stations and the technology of beam forming. That'll scramble, unscramble, and redirect packets of data on a no interference path back to us. This could mean wireless antennas on every lamppost, utility pole, home, and business throughout entire neighborhoods, towns, and cities. And don't forget, we still have Google with their high-altitude balloons with Project Loon floating around, which is like wireless from the sky, okay? Their overall mission statement for that was to connect the world. So they're probably going to have 5G floating around, or, you know, some sort of radiation and Wi-Fi floating around from the sky with Project Loon. So you got to remember that. What's that for? I mean, is that for the so-called astronauts? Good connection, right? Because I don't think they're going to space, but I know they're going up somewhere, at least sometimes. I know there's something up there that makes the sun look real strange, you know? So think about that. Let me know what you think in the comments. So we'll get into this video. This video is probably going to be a half hour long, so I'd appreciate it. Like I said, if you stick around, watch the whole thing, and let me know what you guys think.
Every new generation of wireless networks delivers faster speeds and more functionality to our smartphones. 1G brought us the very first cell phones, 2G let us text for the first time, 3G brought us online, and 4G delivered the speeds that we enjoy today. But as more users come online, 4G networks have just about reached the limit of what they're capable of at a time when users want even more data for their smartphones and devices. Now we're headed toward 5G, the next generation of wireless. It will be able to handle 1,000 times more traffic than today's networks, and it'll be up to 10 times faster than 4G LTE. Just imagine downloading an HD movie in under a second and then let your imagination run wild. 5G will be the foundation for virtual reality, autonomous driving, the Internet of Things, and stuff we can't even yet imagine. But what exactly is a 5G network? The truth is, experts can't tell us what 5G actually is because they don't even know yet. But right now, there are 5 brand new technologies emerging as the foundation of 5G.
Something I liked about that. What is 5G? I've never heard that part there where they say not even its creators or scientists know what 5G is. That brings me back to the point I just made about quantum computers being hooked up to this Internet of Things 5G shit show. If they don't know what that is, 5G, and that's what we're going to be using, that's what all transactions, all data, and everything we do right now will be going through it, and they don't know what it is, that reminds me of something else. And that's quantum computing. You know, they're not sure exactly what the resource is they're pulling or like where it's coming from. You know what I mean? They make it, I mean, they might know, they're just not. I mean, they're saying it's from the void, but I mean, they might not know the details, right? You know what I mean? They might not know how effing insane it is or crazy it is there in the upside down or whatever you want to call it. So it kind of reminds me of that. And then it kind of also reminds me of crypto, which is also another strange thing. Bitcoin, who created it? Nobody knows. How is that possible? And how is it the most valuable thing right now? You know what I mean? How is that possible? That doesn't make sense to me. So when that's said, and I look into that, and I'm like, huh, now how would that happen? That makes me think some sort of super advanced AI, some sort of quantum computing backed AI, crazy black goo powered computer, wireless generation service is like legit much further and much more advanced than we're giving it credit for. See what I'm saying? How do we not know, but we're putting it up and installing it? How do we not? Doesn't make sense.
Millimeter waves, small cells, massive MIMO, beamforming, and full duplex. First up, technology number 1, millimeter waves. Your smartphone and other electronic devices in your home use very specific frequencies on the radio frequency spectrum, typically those under 6 gigahertz. But these frequencies are starting to get more crowded. Carriers can only squeeze so many bits of data on the same amount of radio frequency spectrum. As more devices come online, we're going to start to see slower service and more dropped connections. The solution is to open up some new real estate. So researchers are experimenting with broadcasting on shorter millimeter waves, those that fall between 30 and 300 gigahertz. This section of spectrum has never been used before for mobile devices, and opening it up means more bandwidth for everyone. But there is a catch. Millimeter waves can't travel well through buildings or other obstacles, and they tend to be absorbed by plants and rain. To get around this problem, we'll need technology number 2, small cell networks. Today's wireless networks rely on large, high-powered cell towers to broadcast their signals over long distances. But remember, higher frequency millimeter waves have a harder time traveling through obstacles, which means if you move behind one, you lose your signal. Small cell networks would solve that problem, using thousands of low-power mini base stations. These base stations would be much closer together than traditional towers, forming a sort of relay team to transmit signals around obstacles. This would be especially useful in cities. As the user moved behind.
Yeah, it would be especially useful in cities to sterilize every single person in the fucking perimeter of that city, because it's going to be bouncing off of every single metallic fucking surface and bouncing and being absorbed by absolutely everything, including the food and water you eat and drink. And did we forget? It's fucking radiation. So remember that.
Behind an obstacle, his smartphone would automatically switch to a new base station in better range of his device, allowing him to keep his connection.
Oh! Oh, and don't you guys remember the video I just made not that long ago about the dirt boxes? You guys remember that? I mean, I guess it was that long ago. And it was talking about those things they're putting in drones and helicopters and shit, and they're flying over cities. And what they do is they trick multiple cell phones at a time into thinking that that box on that flying craft is a cell tower. So every bit of data from your phone and multiple others in the area go up through that, thinking it's a cell tower. And then they do what? Get all your data and then spy through the shit. It's called a DRT box, or a dirt box. And that was relatively new at the time. And everybody wants to bring up all these old boxes and how the technology has existed. Of course it has. But the point is how much more efficient it is now. As in the dirt box. You know, what did it say? 9,000 phone calls at once can be recorded and then listened to again whenever. And all the data, all the pictures being sent, all the texts, all the emails, all the web browsing, everything is going through it, and it's taking it all. So think about what they can do if there is multiple small base stations on every single light post or building. Imagine how many fake towers or fake stations they can put up just to listen to your data. You see what I mean? You see what I'm getting at?
Next up, technology number 3, massive MIMO. MIMO stands for multiple input, multiple output. Today's 4G base stations have about a dozen ports for antennas that handle all cellular traffic. But massive MIMO base stations can support about 100 ports. This could increase the capacity of today's networks by a factor of 22 or more. Of course, massive MIMO comes with its own complications. Today's cellular antennas broadcast information in every direction at once, and all of those crossing signals could cause serious interference. Which brings us to technology number 4, beamforming. Beamforming is like a traffic signaling system for cellular signals. Instead of broadcasting in every direction, it would allow a base station to send a focused stream of data to a specific user. This precision prevents interference, and it's way more efficient. That means stations could handle more
This just keeps getting better, doesn't it? They can send a beam of this shit directly to you and beam it right off your fucking skull and your brain. Because that's what they'll be doing. And your sex organs. Because they're sterilizing everything. Including you, your kids, me. And I don't like being sterilized. I don't like dousing my genitalia in radiation, right? I don't like it. It reminds me of Fallout, the game. Because the TVs are called Radiation King, you know? Like, the drink is called Nuka-Cola. Like, everything's bad and horrible. And there's a company called Vault-Tec that's, like, friends with the government. And guess what? They do evil experiments under the guise they're helping you. And it's a straight metaphor for everything we are in. And to even top that, in the Fallout world, just real quickly, this video is going to be long, so whatever, make it long anyways, right? Go big, right? So just to top it though, in the Fallout universe, everything up until the 1960s or so in our reality is also real in the Fallout world. So there's a divergence at the 1960s. And in the Fallout world, they never discovered the transistor, and they made a huge break in nuclear fusion and started powering their world with fusion power. And, you know, then the atomic war happened, and the atomic age wiped out everything. That's the game. But the point that I'm making here, it's, you know, that game is a metaphor for everything, you know, like that they're already doing. The guys that are giving us so much better communication with one another, yet we know that devices, Facebook and the internet and everything has literally destroyed all social connections and all family love ties. So, I mean, under the guise of goodness, you know, you'll be able to download a full HD movie in a second, along with everybody else in your house doing the same thing, like under the guise of something good, right? So sorry, I'm going to try not to interject anymore. We'll finish this.
Incoming and outgoing data streams at once. Here's how it works. Say you're in a cluster of buildings and you're trying to make a phone call. Your signal is ricocheting off of surrounding buildings and crisscrossing with other signals from users in the area. A massive MIMO base station receives all of these signals and keeps track of the timing and the direction of their arrival. It then uses signal processing algorithms to triangulate exactly where each signal is coming from and plots the best transmission route back through the air to each phone. Sometimes it'll even bounce individual packets of data in different directions, off of buildings or other objects to keep signals from interfering with each other. The result is a coherent data.
I said I wasn't going to interrupt again. How would it know how to do that? How would it know how to, okay, it's all about timing. That's what it just said. Now, taking this in the most basic of forms, because more than likely, the answer and the solution is the most simple. What law is that? Somebody tell me. The most simple outcome is probably the case. That's why, fuck gravity, right? No, but anyways, it's more than likely the simplest case. So, how would it, if it's all of timing, know how to bounce it off a wall, but yet solids and plants and all that shit absorb it? But it can bounce it off the wall sometimes because it knows there's another incoming or outgoing signal or data packet. Because what 5G does is it breaks it down in much smaller size so it can send it much quicker. That's creepy. How does it know how to do that? Because there's much more to this than I think we're being told. I know I just said it's probably the simplest outcome, but you got to remember it's knowing how to do all these things, and nobody knows what it is. So the most simplest outcome after saying something like that is that it's its own thing. Like, it's its own thing, kind of, like hooked up to some D-Wave or some shit.
A stream sent only to you. Which brings us to technology number 5, full duplex. If you've ever used a walkie-talkie, you know that in order to communicate, you have to take turns talking and listening. That's kind of a drag. Today's cellular base stations have that exact same holdup. A basic antenna can only do one job at a time, either transmit or receive. This is because of a principle called reciprocity, which is the tendency for radio waves to travel both forward and backward along the same frequency. To understand this, it helps to think of a wave like a train loaded up with data. The frequency it's traveling on is like the train track. And if there's a second train trying to go in the opposite direction on the same track, you're going to get some interference. Up until now, the solution has been to have the trains take turns, or to put all the trains on different tracks or frequencies. But you can make things a lot more efficient by working around reciprocity. Researchers have used silicon transistors to create high-speed switches that halt the backward roll of these waves. It's kind of like a signaling system that can momentarily reroute two trains so that they can get past each other. That means there's a lot more getting done on each track a whole lot faster. We're still working out many of the kinks with millimeter waves, small cell networks, massive MIMO, beamforming, and full duplex. In fact, all of 5G is still a work in progress. It will likely include other new technologies too, and making all of these systems work together will be a whole other challenge. But if experts can figure that out, ultra-fast 5G service could arrive in the next 5 years.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think? So all I want to say right quick about that, it's funny to me they're still working out the kinks. Well, my guess is there's quite a few of them. So, current 4G cell towers have about a dozen or so antenna ports to support all communication. The new smaller 5G cell tower or bases will be MIMO, or multiple input, multiple output, and carry about 100 ports. Wow. These towers will probably be about 4 feet tall as opposed to the usual 90 feet towers currently erected around us. Cells will be available within 100-meter range, and these smart antennas will be able to differentiate between various mixed-up signals like radio waves and Wi-Fi signals in the air and beam them back in an orderly fashion, so to speak. That's effing crazy. Alright. 5G will break down data and send it in smaller sizes to offer significantly reduced transmission times Data will be sent with only a 1 millisecond delay instead of a 50 millisecond delay, commonly found with 4G. With communication this fast, it'll allow machines to talk to each other with practically no room for error, as Marcus Weldon, the CTO of Alcatel Lucent comments. Up until now, we've designed the networks for people and their needs, and now we're designing it for things. Wow, it's wow. So here we go. The dangers of 5G, 11 reasons to be concerned. The USA is currently leading the way on 5G. What a surprise. I mean, really, come on. At the June 2016 press conference where the Federal Communications Commission's announced the opening of low, mid, and high spectrums, there was no mention of health effects whatsoever, but the dangers are very, 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 very real. Now, once again, Tom Wheeler, he's the one that said, we don't give a damn about safety regulations. The U.S. leads in integration and technology, so we are going to put up 5G regardless of what you think. That's basically paraphrasing, but what he said. Thousands of studies link low-level wireless radio frequency radiation exposures to a long list of adverse biological effects, including, but not limited to, I added that, DNA single and double strand breaks. That is insane right off the rip, about as bad as it can get. Because guess what? When your DNA breaks single or double strand, it tries to repair itself. And when it does that and messes up, then it creates a mutation in the DNA, and that's a tumor. Because then it grows out of control wrong, and that's a tumor, and that's cancer. So, yeah, horrible right there. Cancer's a business, so this is another side of funding that business or that war, because they fund both sides of every war. Drug war, they supply the drugs, that obvious one, then you got to think, not only is it that, but then you look at the health effects. So the radiation, the 5G, the cell phones, all that, they supply the cell phones, they supply the networks, they supply the technology, and then they increase it and then give it to us and then give us fine print and tell us not to do something, but then everybody does it anyways. Like put it in their pocket, talk on your phone, everything you shouldn't do, but because they play it down. You see what I mean? Fund both sides of the war. Like oxidative damage, disruption of cell metabolism. Shit. Sorry. Alright. Disruption of cell metabolism, increased blood-brain barrier permeability, melatonin reduction, disruption to brain glucose metabolism, generation of stress proteins. Yeah, because stress in your body actually poisons you. Let's not also forget that in 2011, the World Health Organization, WHO, classified radio frequency radiation as possible to be carcinogen. So yeah, once again, I will leave the link to this article, which is one of the better ones I've had ever, in the description below. Come check it out, save it, bookmark it, read it, memorize it. It's a good one. But yeah, this video is on the 40-minute mark, and I have another little 2-minute clip to add to it. So we're going pushing 45-minute video. I hope you guys watch it. If you can't watch the whole thing, break it up, watch it in sections. I don't know. If you made it though through this whole video, leave a like, subscribe if you have not, and let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think about, how does nobody know what it is exactly, but yet we're installing it and partially using it already. Yeah, we're not using it, but I'm telling you, my phone's having interference from it. The government, the military might already be using it because they're always at least 20 to 30 years ahead of us. So they're probably already using it. It's safe to assume, right? That means we'd still be getting the side effects of it as it bounces around. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just speculation, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Phil James, I'm out. Peace.